Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today I am going to start a new theme, that is thanatology. It has been discussed before in the beginning of the session, but few important questions I thought to revise and rediscuss. Before taking up questions, I want you to know what is thanatology. Thanatology word composed of two words, thanatos and logos. Thanatos means death and logos means science. So it is science of death or study of death. It is the scientific study of phenomena and practices relating to death. I hope that this definition is clear. But what is death itself? How we can describe death? That is not very easy. It is, everybody knows when someone dies, it is death. But actually, what is it? What is the process of death? What is the exact meaning of death? For that, we must know the meaning of life. Sometimes we can get concept from the opposite meaning. So if we know the meaning of life, then if there is no life, that is death. So we can better understand death by first understanding life. So what is life? Life is presence, integration and interdependence of three vital systems of body, that is circulation, respiration and innervation. It is also called tripod of life because it is a three-leg system or a triangular. A triangular can be formed. Tripod means three aspects. So one is circulation, that is cardiovascular system. Other is respiration, and third is central nervous system. So these three systems form tripod of life. They are the pillars of life. The persistent stoppage of any vital system, one of these three, any of these three, if it is stopped or it fails, it will ultimately affect the other two. They will also stop working. So this is that will be end of life. So persistent stoppage of any vital system eventually leads to irreversible loss of function of others. So I hope it is clear that persistent stoppage means irreversible stoppage. The system is not temporarily suspended. It is permanent. It will not come back. It will not work again. And so if one system fails, like for example, if circulation fails, then it will affect respiration as well as innervation. And after some time, all these three systems will stop working. So in that way, we can understand what is life and what is death. Now the source of this topic are two books. Number one is book by Professor Naseeb Aman, and today's topics are questions. You will find the answers in Naseeb Aman book, and also you will require to study some topics from Parekh and of course from teachers' lectures. You will also get help. Next is what are types of death? Generally, we consider death as a whole, or a person is not breathing, or he is pulseless, and his reflexes are absent. But this is death, but it is first phase of death, or type of death, or you can say it is the beginning of process of death. And this phase or this type of death is called somatic, clinical, or systemic death. Soma means body. It is death of body as an integrated system. So there are two types of death, somatic and molecular. So somatic death is also called clinical and systemic, and this is body. In somatic death, body dies as a whole, as you can see, or a doctor can find when a person is not breathing and circulation is stopped and reflexes are absent. That means all vital systems have stopped working. That is actually start of process of death, and it is also called somatic, clinical, or systemic death. Now, what is the importance of this type of death, or this phase of death? Phase number 1, legal certification of the death depends on the diagnosis of somatic death. So as you know, forensic medicine is a subject that is for purpose of law and furthering of justice. So you must mention this legal importance when you are asked a question on types of death. Then this legal significance or importance of somatic death is very important. It is not to be missed. So when a person dies or starts dying, that is he is in the phase of somatic death, then a doctor will examine him and declare him dead, and that is a legal requirement, and he will issue a death certificate. So that is the importance of somatic death. So as you know, death is divided into two phases or types. Number 1, somatic, and number 2, molecular death. It is also called cellular death because body cells don't die immediately at onset of somatic death. They die slowly and gradually over a span which is spread over many days. So that is why it occurs in over some period of time, and it is called molecular or cellular death because cells are dying differently. Systems have already died or finished, stopped working. That was somatic death, but the cells inside organs, they are taking time to die. Now they die, those cells of the body, they die on different cells or tissues. They die on different timings. They don't die simultaneously. Now why this somatic death, molecular death occurs? It occurs due to anoxia of cells. Now if there is no oxygen, or if respiration is stopped, there is no fresh oxygen available, then anoxia starts, and this anoxia of cell depends on ability of tissues to withstand. This life of cells in organs depends on ability of tissues to withstand anoxia. That means how much anoxia they can tolerate. So their power of resisting anoxia is different for different organs. For example, brain is very quickly brain cells die due to anoxia, but cells of muscles or skin and some other parts, they may take more time. So biologically, this process of death of various organs is spread over a period of time, and this is called molecular death or cellular death. Now, what is the legal importance of molecular death? It is organ transplantation. Which depends upon persistence of properties of life in component parts even after somatic death, but they remain viable for very short time. That is, liver remains viable or alive for 15 minutes only after somatic death. Kidneys, cells or organ survives or is alive for 45 minutes after somatic death, and heart remains alive 1 hour after somatic death. Muscular tissues, they survive for 6 hours after somatic death, and cornea 6 hours, and skin 12 hours after somatic death. So in that way you can understand, or you can get the importance of molecular death, because organ transplantation is possible in this phase, and once this phase is over, there will be no organ transplantation possible. That is the importance of molecular death. Now, next question which is usually asked is, what is the clinical criteria for certification of death or cause of death? This you will get these questions, as I told you before, today's questions from Naseeb Aman, chapter 12, and for this particular question you will see table 12.3. This is second edition of Naseeb Aman. Now, if a person dies during course of treatment in hospital, then the attending doctor is legally bound to declare him dead and issue death certificate giving cause of death, which I will discuss separately, this certificate. Now, what is the clinical criteria or findings based on which he can confirm death and issue certificate? Now, there are 5 or 6 points which are the clinical criteria for certification of death. Some of them are essential and some are additional. So if you get a question, you must write these points, but also you have to little bit explain them. I am just on slide, you can only get headings. You have to write something more to elaborate. So the first point is bilateral fixed dilation or dilatation of pupils. So if both pupils are dilated and it is fixed, it is permanent, then this is one important sign of somatic death or death which you can issue medical certificate, medico-legal or legal certificate of death. Criteria number 2 is complete absence of reflexes. So you may test all reflexes like corneal reflexes and other brainstem reflexes, they are all absent. The person or dead person doesn't respond to any of the reflexes. So that is another important criteria. Number third essential criteria is complete and irreversible loss or stoppage of respiration. So, if there is no breathing, there is no chest movement, and there is some other way to check it, then that means there is a loss of respiration, and it is complete and it is permanent and irreversible. It will not return, because there is a condition, some conditions in which this can return. So you have to rule out those conditions, which I will discuss next after this, and that condition is called suspended animation. Next criteria is complete and irreversible cessation of circulation. Now, how this will be confirmed? Because the BP will fall very rapidly and it will come to zero and it will not rise again. So that will confirm the permanent stoppage of circulation. Next is flat EEG for at least 6 hours. So what is EEG? It is encephalography, the electrical activity of the brain, and this is flat or zero, or there is no activity. So that is another criteria. Now, out of all these, this complete absence of reflexes shows that there is death of brain stem. So there is a difference between cortical death, whole brain death, and brain stem death. So it is if there is death of higher centers, which is called cortical death, the person is not dead legally. Breathing and circulation can take place on ventilator. But in brain stem death, there is complete death of brain, because this also brain stem controls breathing and respiration. So this is legal criteria. This is the importance of brain stem death, is that it is the legal criteria. So one can issue death certificate for if there is brain stem death. Next topic is our question is suspended animation. It is also called apparent death. Now, why it is called apparent death? Because apparently, or just जिसको कहते हैं बज़ाहिर, उर्दू में कहेंगे देखने में, the person looks that he or she is dead, and the clinical signs, they are not perceivable. It is why it is called suspended animation. That is, the life is suspended. Life processes like respiration, breathing are suspended temporarily. It's not reversible and permanent. So it's a condition in which vital functions of the body are depressed to the minimum compatible with life, not perceptible clinically. So clinically, a doctor, if examines, he won't find respiration and other signs of life. So body looks and behaves like a dead body. After some time, the person may recover. Some people may recover and some may die. I mean, they may get permanent cessation of functions. But till that time, the person is alive, he is not dead. So doctor should be very careful not to declare a person in suspended animation dead. Now humans can also acquire this state voluntarily by practice, like sadhus and yogis. They may hold their breath for a long time. It is also seen in animals during hibernation, and in humans due to some pathology or some disorder. It can also occur like electrocution. In cases of electrocution, hypothermia, drowning, acute intoxication with strong hypnotics, which result into barbiturated coma, after anesthesia, concussion, heat stroke, and deep shock. So what is the importance of suspended animation? Its recognition and diagnosis is important so as not to declare dead the person found to be in this state. So that will be if a person is declared dead in this state, that means a living person has been declared dead. So that is a big and grave mistake. That is almost equal to killing someone. So that is the importance of this suspended animation. Now, what can be treatment of this? Patients are revived by resuscitative measures. So they are treated in emergency, and they are supplied with oxygen, artificial respiration, and all such mouth-to-mouth breathing, and those procedures which can revive life in them. Next is important terms related to death. These are 4 in number: cause, mechanism, manner, and mode. I hope you all know these terms. So, cause of death, mechanism of death, manner of death, and mode of death. I will describe first 3 today, and mode I will take up separately because a question has been asked on mode exclusively. So these are given in the Sivaman book, chapter 12, table 12.1. Now, what is cause of death? That is any disease, physical injury, or intoxication which finally proves fatal. So disease means any natural disease like infection. Physical injury means assault, physical assault, or some other's assault. Intoxication means poisoning with something, either self-poisoning or given by someone, which finally proves fatal. That means the person dies as a result of these. So all these will fall under cause of death. So now you must be very clear, it is very important. Cause is important because when as a doctor you issue death certificate, there you are bound to, or you are legally bound to write the cause of death, which is a separate topic. So you don't have to mix cause with mechanism or manner or mode. Now, what is mechanism? Number 2 is mechanism of death. This is events or changes in body physiology or biochemistry which is incompatible with life. In simple words, you can say the complications which arise after some disease or injury or intoxication. The body systems and organs undergo various metabolic changes which complex changes or complicated changes which lead to death. So it is a pathway to death. So like asystole, ventricular fibrillation, hemorrhagic shock, severe acidosis or severe alkalosis, and sepsis and toxemia. So these are examples of mechanism. Third is manner of death, that is way, fashion or circumstances of death. So what are those circumstances of death? Either death can be natural when it is due to any disease, so that is simple. The other is unnatural, death can be unnatural. So when it is unnatural, it may be due to trauma, that means physical or sexual assault, and injury, and intoxication, that means poisoning, or due to some accidental air crash, railway crash, or again that will result in injuries. Now, so there are three important terms in manner: accident, homicide, and suicide. So accidental death is when there is no intention to kill someone, but the person is killed due to any reason other than intention. Homicide is when there is intention to kill. Knowingly a person is killed by someone who knows it and who has intention to kill. Now, what is suicide? When a person takes his own life, kills himself either by some weapon or by poisoning or by drowning or by jumping from the high building. So there are various ways to commit suicide. So these all three fall in manner. So manner can be accidental, homicidal, and suicidal. This is very important in forensic medicine because in each case, in each topic, you have to give manner of death of that person. That you have also know even in special toxicology in every poison. One important heading is medico-legal aspects, and that in that you discuss or describe manner of death. Number 4 term is mode of death. This is stoppage or failure of a vital system. Depending upon the system affected, there are 3 modes of death. Number 1, coma, that is stoppage of function of brain. Number 2, syncope of heart, and number 3, asphyxia of lungs. So till today I just I am mentioning the definition of mode. What is mode? That is a vital system, one of 3 vital system has failed or stops working, has stopped working, and then other 2 will also stop working. So this is called mode, and there are only 3 modes in body. Remember, there may be 100 causes of death, but there are only 3 mode of death: coma, syncope, and asphyxia. And I will describe in detail in next lecture. Thank you so much.